Hi, bond issuance keeps running at a healthy pace this year, and that reality has actually reached Turkish shores as well. So for that, it's a good thing that we have Tolu Alamutu, who covers Turkish banks, with us today. Tolu, Garanti BBVA issued a new security last week, a new Tier 2. They hadn't called the previous ones, only called about 2 years ago. It's a well-run, well-capitalized bank. How did you think that came up to be?
Right. So I think 2 years ago in 2022, when Garanti BBVA decided to skip the call, the once only call, as you highlighted, on the dollar tier two, which had around 750 million outstanding, it was a bit of a surprise to investors for a couple of reasons. The first, and I guess most important one, is as you alluded to, this is an extraordinarily well run bank with very strong fundamentals. Excess capital, so they could have called the security without compromising the regulatory limits on capital in any way. And the bank is so well run that the current CEO of BBVA itself was actually taken from Garanti. So, very well regarded bank. So I think it came as a surprise to investors at the time that they didn't call it. So the bond actually fell around, I think, 4 points or so when they announced that the call option would not be exercised. But I think the other reason that it was a surprise is that other Turkish banks of similar stature had called tier twos at the first call date. And when I say similar stature, I mean similar in terms of size and so on. But Garanti is definitely one of the stronger ones in terms of fundamentals. But peers had called, so the decision not to call at the time, I think, was took investors aback a little bit.
Right. Good. Understood. And I guess the follow-up question to that would be: would these new tier two have any potential implication for the old one?
Yeah, so I mean, it's great that Guarantee has been able to come back to the market. They placed a 500 million euro, sorry, $500 million bond last week, and that bond is actually up in secondary at the moment. And it could have implications, I think, for the existing security, um, for um, for a main reason that now they've replaced the capital in a way that they would be losing if they had called that existing tier two without replacement 2 years ago. And they've already lost some of the capital credit on the existing tier two. Only 60% of it counts as capital as of the end of 2023, and that capital credit will be amortizing further. So, from a capital credit perspective, from a replacement perspective, it makes sense, I think, for them to at least consider some sort of liability management involving the existing or old tier two, I guess you would call it now. And another thing to flag on that is that we've had at least one Turkish bank do something similar. So that bank issued a tier two bond and tendered for the old or existing tier two following that issuance. So there's a possibility of Garanti doing something similar.
Right. No, it makes sense that market conditions changing, these type of things can and do happen. Perfect, Tolu. Thank you very much for that, and we look to speak again soon. We'll keep our eyes on it.
Yes, thank you, Renato.